Hello, I'm Benson and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you some products that I made with the LaserPecker 4. Recently I posted a video about making aluminum cards with the LaserPecker 4. On the Facebook group, a lot of people use the setting and it just paste and copy because we all had the same machine with minimum effort. You don't need to use any imaging processing. The LaserPecker design space will do all that for you. You just need to choose the right setting, inverse, and card after card you get some pretty amazing details where I used to struggle with other diode lasers. Now when it comes to cutting organic material, the LaserPecker 4 does have a diode laser which can cut pieces of wood, but it's not as straightforward as the other X and Y axle laser, which I will explain in details as I go along, showing you my workflow in making a model like this. Now this is my prototype. The design is made by my sister who actually sells this online. She had a diode laser which already making very good sample of this. Hopefully my second model will be better than this one, but I want to take you guys on a journey on how I use the LaserPecker 4 with Lightburn to make something like this. This is a 12-pack balsa wood of 1 mil, and I can tell you that this is the worst material I have ever worked with. This is thin, they break easily, and when you start to make miniature models, unless you got your setting absolutely right, this will break very easily. For the structural part of the house, I got this 2 mil MDF. Now MDF again is not the easiest material to cut from, but once you get the setting right, you can get really good results with MDF. And finally, I got a piece of white paper here. But again, my video is not scripted, so hopefully it will be the same experience that you get at home if you do buy the LaserPecker 4. The LaserPecker 4 is an absolutely brilliant machine for engraving metal and details. But in terms of cutting power or cutting, it is still lagging behind with a lot of the diode laser on the market. So within the last year, diode laser have really come down in price. I personally will go for something at least 10 volt laser output. Now remember, this is laser output, not the magic number that the company will tell you how much energy that potentially put into the machine. And at 20 volts onwards, you can start to create some really deep cuts without affecting too much of the burn or results of the cut. So LaserPecker 4 is not cheap. So you're looking about at least £1,000, £1,000 or $1,000 for the really basic version. To get the extended platform or the rotary, then you add another $500, maybe another $1,000. But for a diode laser, you can get a really good one for about £350. And if you are going to do a lot of cutting, I do strongly recommend getting a second machine. And I had a Atom Stack 5 volt, 10 volt, 20 volt. Once you get them dialed in, they're really good. If I am to buy another machine, I'll look for one with a linear rail and make sure they have the best possible head mount. Those are the two weak points that I find in the entry-level diode laser. The diode laser, usually the minimum will be a 300 by 300 or cut space, and sometimes like 400 by 400, and they are pretty standard big size. And you have the freedom to cut a lot bigger material. With the LaserPecker 4, you're really restricted to just a small square. And if you have the extended platform like I do, then you can cut like 29 centimeters or 300 mil kind of length, but you're still restricted by the width. And second reason why the LaserPecker 4 may not be the best cutting tool is because the laser is in a single point about 150 millimeters above your material. So if the laser is pointing straight down, you get a really straight cut. As soon as you go to the edges, any 4 edges of the cutting area, you start to have a laser going kind of like at an angle. And that creates a bit of a problem. One is the cut will never be flush, so it's always have an angle to it. And secondly, the power of the laser needed to cut that material is just a bit more than cutting straight. To begin with, the LaserPecker 4 already have a small cutting area. On top of that, you don't want to use the side of it. That's why you have to use the middle part. But anyway, like I said, it's not the end of the world. There is always possible to do it. It's just more convenient with a different machine. Enough of me talking. let's move to the cutting area and I show you step by step of how I cut and how I put this one together. Okay, so here I got my setup. My computer PC is on this side. My LaserPecker 4 is over there. It is connected via the USB cable, and I have an extractor fan right there. And when I'm burning some serious stuff, I do need a fan as well, which is not showing at the moment. Now, I'm not using the LaserPecker design space to cut anything, but I am using it to help me to set up the correct focus distance. And I will show you why in a minute. So let's connect the device. Now this piece of wood is a MDF and is 2 mil in to thickness. And I want to focus this a bit further down than the 2 mil. Because obviously as you go away or go under the focusing spot, the power will reduce dramatically, but same as when you're trying to cut through a thick material. Okay, for example, now the laser is usually quite accurate. So this is 150 mil to the surface of the wood, but as it cuts through the 2 mil piece of wood, the laser focus will change. So what I'm trying to do is let it out of focus at the surface, cut to the middle, then it will be in focus, and then cut through, then it will be out of focus again. So I actually want it dropped down by 2 clicks. Okay, so now you are kind of a bit out of focus, but at least when it cuts, it will cut clean. So that's all I need LaserPecker design space for. I could do it in Lightburn, but for some reason, whenever I connect to Lightburn, I lost the focusing dot. I know some people actually use the measurements between the lens and the surface, but I kind of quite like the red dot, so that's how I do it. And then you jump into Lightburn. So COM 4 is my COM port. So at the moment it's showing autumn stack because that's my other machine, but no worry, you can always change this. So when you drop down menu here, you choose side extension because that's what I have connected to the LaserPecker at the moment. As soon as you do that, the workspace will change to the setting of the side extent table, which is like 160 by 300. If you go to the console tab, this is very important. You go to the console tab, you can choose the wavelength of your laser. So for us cutting organic material like wood, we choose the 450. And then when you click on the side extension, it does help to kind of standardize or adjust it. I find that when using a Lightburn, sometimes, especially when you stop in the middle of the burn, it will stop the machine from working. Like it won't go back to how it was before. And all you need to do is, well, once you've gone out of a Lightburn, maybe go back to LaserPecker design space, and then you go back to Lightburn again. Hopefully that will fix a lot of your problem. Make sure the shape is kind of in the middle of your cut area. As soon as you go beyond that point, it will give you some really rubbish cuts. So try to concentrate your cut right in the middle. Now, if you don't have the extension table, it will become like a square. This is your cutting area, and you will try to avoid not just the side, but the top and bottom as well. So you might want to just cut one piece at a time, rather than this whole thing here. Now, I got that much on this side, so up to you. You can move the board over that side, or you can move the whole project to more towards the middle. I still got some space on this side before I hit the edge, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all this over here. So now I know I'm going to cut on this side of the board, and I still have half a board left for something else. Now I'm going to use some clip to clip down the board so it doesn't move. Now obviously I'm going to clip on this side of the board, not on that side of the board, because I don't want the clip to be in the way of the laser. Let's try it one more time. Okay, now it's a good time to adjust your exhaust to make sure that it will be ready to take up as much of the smoke as possible. And you have to make sure this is not in the path of the laser. Now this is the time that you want to wear your eye protection. And with laser, it's always important to have some kind of air assist. Obviously, it's hard to do air assist with the laser here. So what we do is we're going to put a fan on. So it's nearly finished, and all it took is about 16 minutes altogether to cut out all these pieces. Each of these pieces has been run 10 times with the laser, and all this time I have a fan blowing air through it. Now one of the tips for using Lightburn is that, you know, every time you finish cut, if you don't touch it and if you don't stop the laser burning, the cut will be quite accurate. For example, if it is not completely cut through, I can actually tell the computer to, you know, cut it one more round, and they are quite accurate. It will go back to where it's supposed to go. But to know if it has been cut through correctly, all you need to do is where's your with eye protection, if you go down to the eye level where you can see through these ridges all the way to the other side, you can actually see the laser coming through the piece of wood. At first, nothing will come through, and then suddenly you see speckle of light coming through. That is when the laser starts to break through the weakest point of the wood, the material. And then eventually, let's say I'm using 10 cuts. By the 9th cut, you should be able to see like a continuous laser coming through the bottom of the wood. So that is a quite good way to tell if your cut has been successful or not. So I can do 11, and then this will cut through. But I do like a bit of a holding power with the backing paper. It wouldn't have too much issue just pushing them out, and it doesn't leave a mess on my cutting board as well. So the only piece which is actually completely cut through is this one here. Now this is obviously half the thickness of the wood just now, so you wouldn't really need to defocus it as such. So I'm just going to raise it by one click. So again, this is my sister design. So this is all the other extra parts that I need. So there is two different types of laser burn here. One is the fill, which is 3000 speed and 18 power. And the other one is the cut, which is 1800 speed and 85 power. Now this is my setting. It might be a good starting point for you, but you don't have to follow this. Now same step as before, so we need to make sure that it cuts in the middle of the piece of wood. So this is pretty much where I want it to cut, but I also want to make sure that the corner doesn't peel up, so I want to clip on the corner. You can use whatever necessary or whatever you have to make sure that you can have the wood flush flat onto the machine. Okay, it might not look like it's doing much, but basically it is now engraving. So there are some details of black lines and mark that is engraving, and when it finishes engraving, then it will start to cut out the shape. Now because this is a very thin piece of wood and it's not MDF, all it takes is like 2 passes of the line cut. Now with this part of the cutting, it's very important to cut through, because the pieces are actually so small. Even if it is a little bit attached to the timber or the wood, when you try to take it out, it will break. When I try to glue them together, you will see how tiny the pieces are. And this just shows that how sharp the laser is in terms of cutting precise parts. Again, the setting will be on the screen for you guys to follow. By all means, use your own setting. If you want to run it lower power but more passes, whatever would work for your wood. You have to keep testing different material. For me, if it is in the center, it will cut through like that. If it is on the side, sometimes you do need to use a sharp blade at the back to make sure that it cuts through. This part took 26 minutes altogether, and it's very important that I save all the little pieces because they all make part of the house. And I'm going to carefully scrape off all the little ones onto the cardboard here. It might not look like it, but a lot of these small pieces is actually what gives the house the detail is needed. And I think I broke a piece already. Hopefully I can salvage it. Okay, so now this is time for some try and error. I never really use LaserPecker 4 to cut paper. This is quite a thick piece of paper, but it's in white color. So 480, it burns through, actually it might catch fire. 1030, it marks the paper, it does not cut through. So I know I need higher power, so I can reduce the speed a bit, so I might do like 800. At the same time, I'm going to increase the power to 50. Now this is a time that you really need to check your paper, because if you start to burn, you have to be ready to stop or maybe ready to put out the fire. Always have some kind of a fan blowing it, because that will help to take the heat away, but still kind of give it a cleaner cut. But let's try that. Just a good way to show you guys, if you are without my setting, what do you do if you have a new material, for example. This is the kind of stuff that you need to work it out yourself. So clean cut, no burn, as in no fire. Okay, so very fast. Let me turn off the fan, because the wind is going to blow it off the piece of paper. Now what I'm interested in is not the piece of paper itself. What I'm interested in is each of these individual window. Now if I pick it with my finger, it's going to crush it. So I need to use my pair of tweezers. Handle with care. The middle part of the window is literally razor thin. And this is the power of laser. It's going to be so hard to cut with a blade. It's almost impossible. There we go. So now I have 3 different types of material here. So you got your 2mm MDF, which make up the structure of the house. And you got the 1mm birch wood. This is crab wood. Really, really bad. And then I got paper cut out, which is white in color. So those are the details of my window. So now I need to take them out piece by piece. Shouldn't be that difficult, because like, you know, they are all kind of cut through cleanly. Okay, so now I have all the pieces I need to assemble my house. I just want to show you how small the individual pieces is. For example, like this one here, I don't know if I can focus it enough so you guys can see. So here on the tip of my tweezers, even if I squeeze it too hard, it will break. That's just how crap the wood is. But this thing is tiny in terms of measurement. So the whole square, the width of it is 3.6 mil. And this wood is so soft that I'm going to crush it. So this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to assemble each of these parts with PVA glue. Nothing fancy, just PVA, and I'm going to apply them using some offcut. So here is what the white paper cutout is for. This is back of the fascia of the house. So here is my finished product from scratch with the LaserPecker 4. And you can see the tiny details on the fascia of the house. Now I can't take credit for this. Like I say, my sister Z, she designed it. She used Lightburn. And you can buy the model, a much better version than what I can do with the LaserPecker 4. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I do not think this is the best tool for this kind of a delicate wood cutting. But it can be done as long as you understand your laser and take your time and patience to get the setting right. This is my first version without the details, and this is the version with the details. Now the one that my sister sold online, she used transparent plastic instead of cutting white paper. This is white paper which cuts out. And someone on Facebook group asked me about this dollhouse or miniature house. What can you do with the lighting? Yes, it's hollow inside, so you can put LEDs inside to light it up. But I'm not an expert on this kind of a detail work, so I'm going to leave this as it is. Thank you very much for watching my video. I can't wait to see you next time with more interesting gadgets. Bye bye.